Hi, Redbud families. I wanted to talk a little bit about grace and courtesy lessons. So we can think of grace and courtesy as kind of the oil that keeps the gears of social relationships going, right? They're the pleases and the thank yous and the kind of learning how to function as a society and as a person in the world who has to live with other people. I remember in my training, the trainer talked about being a young child. She was older, she was a lot older, but she remembered as a young child vividly being in a store and the clerk handed her a piece of candy. And her mother said very loudly, you didn't say thank you. You're supposed to say thank you. And the amount of embarrassment she felt about that, even as a very young child. So I think when we're thinking about grace and courtesy, we want to think about that even young children have a rich inner life and a lot of feelings, and they want to be able to fit into the world that they're born in, right? And they want to know social norms. So grace and courtesy prepares children for that in advance of needing it, so that we won't have to correct them in the moment and cause them embarrassment. Um, so it's kind of a game that we play. It's almost like a role play game. So we'll act out the scene in advance. So things that the child would need to know. And we have cards for this, like things like how to offer a hug, right? So the child may want a hug, but they don't know if the other person does want a hug. And so we would play in that scenario, we would act it out where I would be the child and I wanted to hug the teacher, right? Or hug another friend, and I would show the child how to walk up and say, "Would you like a hug?" And then the other person can say, "Yes, please," or "No, thank you." And so they're actors in the play. And the play is only like a minute or 2 minutes long, but they like to take turns being both people and getting a chance to do both sides. And that way they can practice for if they're the person who's initiating the social contact or the person who's kind of receiving um, that from someone else. And so I'm just going to give you a list of a few things that we do. So we did how to give a hug. We have how to use a napkin. And so at lunch, well, prior to lunch, so during the work period or something, we would pretend that we take the napkin out, put it on our laps, that we spilled something, and we wipe it up, dab our mouths, wipe our hands, those kind of things. So it's almost practice for like how to be a person in society, that follows the rules and the customs of the time and the place where they're born. How and when to interrupt. So this could be two people in the household could be having a conversation or pretending to have a conversation, and the other person comes up and says, "Oh, excuse me, please," and then waits, right? Or stands very close to that people who are talking and stands and waits for them to finish. And so that could be a little play that you put on, and the children could take turns, either being in the conversation or being the person who interrupts, right? How to knock on a door and wait. So this is something one person could go into the bathroom and the child could practice knocking and waiting until the person says, "Who is it?" And then they answer. Or a bedroom door, that's an important thing, or the front door. And there's also different nuances of knocking in different places. So that's something that the older children could explore. How to tell someone they have mucus on their face. It's something that we have to learn how to do, right? So that would be, "Oh, excuse me, I see that you have some mucus on your face. Can I offer you a tissue?" Something like that. And then you could play it back and forth. How to blow your nose, folding the tissue, placing it on your nose and pulling down. That's something that they have to learn to do, right? And then washing your hands. And so we show them how to do those simple things that they need to do. How to watch someone work. So that, may sound specific to the classroom, but also we're working at home, right? And so children should know that it's not appropriate to interrupt anyone's work, even adults, right? So when you need to get someone's attention when they're working, you come stand close to them and wait, and then they'll notice you, and then you can have that conversation. And that's something they can practice at home with their siblings or with their adult. How to catch a sneeze, right? That's a good one. How to walk in front of someone, right? If someone's standing in a doorway and two people are talking, how do you get through that space? So it's really confusing for children sometimes. I watch and they have a hard time. They just kind of stand and they're not sure what to do. So if you have more people at home, you could have two people stand and be having a conversation, and then the third actor comes over and says, "Excuse me, please, may I pass by?" And then they role play that out, right? How to ask for space. That's something we have to learn to do, right? And so if a sibling is bothering the child or seems, we're spending a lot of time together, it's appropriate for adults to ask for space too. So you can say, "I need some space right now." And the child has to learn to accept that, you need a little personal space. "I'll be with you in a few moments. I need a little space around my body." And they can practice saying that to you. It's an important thing to know how to do. How to serve someone. Children like to do that. And so they might slice a banana and then walk around the house and offer it to family members. "Would you like a piece of banana?" And then the person can say yes please or no thank you, and the child has to accept either one. Accepting no is also a skill. Sometimes no is an answer and you have to accept that. How to greet, how to make introductions, some things. And the thing about grace and courtesy lessons is that they're always evolving. So if you see something at home that's happening that may need a little help, you can make a grace and courtesy lesson out of it. How to pass things at the table instead of reaching across, right? That's a good one. So could you please pass the butter, and then wait for that person to pass it, or whatever it is. The good thing is that there's grace and courtesy lessons could go on forever, and the older the child gets, the more nuanced they get. So I just kind of wanted to give you a jumping off part about why we do grace and courtesy and how you could do it in the home. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to email me. And they're ever evolving as we grow and as we work together with others. So thanks for listening to that one. Thanks.